What are your gifts? What do you desire for yourself? What do you envision for the entire planet? Immerse yourself into the Ascension of the Soul online 2-day conference. Explore your soul's purpose and experience deep connection to all that you are. A collaboration of luminaries here to support you in understanding and remembering your true potential. Brought to you by Soul Search and Portal to Ascension. Now is the time to awaken to our soul's gifts and abilities. Join us October 15th and 16th, 2022.
Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to see all you soul searchers, your soul seekers, all of you who are really wanting to learn more about ascension of the soul and why you are here and your purpose. We have a great show today. We are going to talk about how to live in that interdimensional / multidimensional space 24/7, which I don't know about all of you, but it's my favorite place to be in. So, meanwhile, if you're new to us, I'm your host, Joan of Angels. I'm a transformational coach and guide and an intuitive. I work with Portal to Ascension as the director of productions, and I'm here with my dear friend Tangela of Soul Search. Hi, Tangela.
Hi, Joan, and hello, everyone. So great to be here with all of you today, and excited, as always, to be connecting about an incredible topic for everyone in humanity at this moment, the ascension of the soul. And it's going to be a fun show.
It is going to be a fun show. So, guys, before we even get to the fun show, first thing is just let us know where you're from. We always love to see where the collective, we have people from all around the world on all parts. No, that's not true. I haven't seen anyone from Antarctica or the North and South Pole yet, but we have people from around the world, and it just helps us, Starseed and Blessed and Sue, to really connect deeply with you, and just so happy you're with us. So I thought we would start, Tangela. Soul Search is presenting, and you are the founder of Soul Search, but we're presenting a major conference, and I thought we'd start by showing that so everyone can have a taste of that first.
Sure, that would be great.
So I think Tina has it up there. Yes, she does. We've changed the date, everyone.
Yes, it's now actually October 29th and October 30th. So we do have to fix that, the promo that we just showed, but just know it's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., October 29th and October 30th. And it'll be 25 presenters speaking about all the different aspects of ascension of the soul, which is really exciting because we're going to hear about Akashic records, quantum psychology, the astrological perspectives, shadow work, shadow play, and like you'll be hearing from Keelena today, living multidimensionally. So it's really exciting because there's just going to be so many downloads from these amazing speakers, including Joan and Neil Gar from Portal to Ascension. And it will give all of you guys a chance just to do a deep dive in what that means for us as individuals, for us as humanity. And you'll have all of those downloads available for replay. So if there was ones that you really resonated with, you can always go back to those to connect with again. And we're doing this amazing interview series with all of our speakers just to get to know them, understand their journey, hear how they got to where they are, and learn more about them as ascension experts.
You know what? I love that. And I'm reflecting back on the interviews that we're doing, and everyone has their own tool for this ascension process that works for them. And so every guest has given us those tools, and we're really happy to share them and get a sense of what they're about. So guys, before we begin, let's just all, first of all, make sure you let us know where you're from. Welcome, Kathy. I see you just popped in. Let us know where you're from so we can just really tune into you. And everyone, just let's take a deep breath together. And let it all out. Sometimes I just like to touch my heart, Sue, when I breathe in. And let it all out. Good. And just remember, we're sending love from everywhere that we're at. We're here collectively. To me, it's a miracle that we can all come together and gather like that. Beautiful. So, Tangela, why don't you tell us about our special guest today?
Yeah, so our amazing guest is Kalina Monar, and I already see Blessed by the Best is commenting. I'm certainly looking forward to this experience with Kalina, and so are we all actually, because she is really an incredible being. Kalina is an international facilitator and way shower of the ascension, as well as divine feminine leader for our fifth dimensional crystalline new earth. She has been awake since a child and has had the privilege of seeing and hearing her guides since she can remember. Many times, this has saved her life and the lives of her family. She was gifted with deeper awakening and activations at the cellular level through very important transitions in her life from her galactic star family of light, angelics, and the masters that were preparing her for the work she came to do in service for humanity. And she is a transformational, multidimensional quantum energy healer. She facilitates empowerment through activations, healing, and mentorship to assist the feminine of the planet of all ages to know thyself, love thyself, and be thyself, leaving judgment and distorted subconscious fears and old programs behind. Kalina represents the divine feminine cosmic mother goddess energy in her transmissions, channeling, works, and those that meet her in person feel the divine love energy that flows from her sacred heart. She is referred to as the Lady of Light and or cosmic goddess by her guides and a spiritual mama by many clients and sisters of the rose she has empowered and activated over the years. She's an ambassador for the Galactic Center, light language DNA key code breaker and activator, light language harmonizer, vibrational frequency changer, raises the octave, channel for source, full body conduit, high priestess of the Magdalene Sisters of the Rose, high priestess temple of Isis, gatherer of the Earth Sisters of Light, galactic shamaness, psychic, intuitive, cosmic artist, author, and more. So I could go on and on about how incredible Kalina is here on all of her gifts, but we have her here with us today. So, Kalina, we're so excited to welcome you to the show.
Wow, very excited to have you on the show. Is that one of your pieces behind you, Kalina?
Yes.
Some of your sacred artwork?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That came through on Christmas Day of 2021. And it's what's going to be what's happening this year, which is a huge activation of the pineal for a deeper perception of those living on the earth here. And it's the feminine energy, it's the cosmic mother. So I never know what's going to come through on my paintings. It also has the representation of the sun and the crescent moon there for balance, to remove distortion. So, and there's light language codes underneath all my paintings. So if people actually stand in front of them, they start receiving the activations.
I love that. You're a visionary artist, and I'm like that too with some of my art. It's oracle art, which makes complete transformations. So I'm so interested in you. First of all, your name really interests me. So, and I heard Tangela mention that you have been interdimensional since you were a child. Yes. So maybe you could share a little bit about that and how you got your name and that experience as a child, becoming this adult you are today.
Right. Yes. Thank you. And thank you for the beautiful introduction. That was very kind. As a child, I've always heard from probably about the age 3, 4, I have heard my guides talking to me. So there's never been a disconnect from that, unless I, at one point in my life, said enough of this because I got angry because things weren't going my way, my 3D way. But that just put me right back in alignment. So they would call me by the name Keelena. And I would sit for a long time as a little writing my name, knowing it wasn't right. It wasn't right. It wasn't right. I'm like this. My parents actually named me Kelly. And I was like,
oh,
this is not my name. You know, I knew it deep in my soul. And then, you know, I was playing with my name one day and I dropped the LY and I put the E's and then I heard the na. And so and they were like calling me Keelena from that day forward. I knew it, the feeling of it just expanded my heart. And then later in life, I was going to be giving birth to my daughter. So I was trying to figure out a name for her. And I'm like, I'm going to call her Keelena. And I got the biggest no, like so fast. They were like, the energy just came in and said, no, that's who you are. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I stepped back. And from that point, I knew that that is the name that I'm supposed to be using. And when I do use it, everything flows. Also, when I had I had a soul switch on January 1st, 2015. I woke up completely different. And that was the day that, boom, Keelena, the name, I've been using it ever since. And I have not gone back.
You say soul switch. Is that kind of like a walk-in? Was it a soul switch? Was it like a walk-in soul that came in, or?
Not a walk-in. That's different. The walk-in is someone who comes in and takes over a body where somebody has gone through death. The soul switch is where the higher aspect of yourself comes in. And it's like, you have all these different aspects and versions of yourself that's sometimes guiding you along the way. It was one of the aspects of myself came in, and the part of me, Kelly, that was here actually left because the karma that I had to complete on the earth with my ex-husband and birthing my children was done. That part of my life was done and over. And so when this came in, so much more of the multidimensionality came through, and the like focus, you're here to focus on helping the people of the planet. And they were, they were really confirming, you're here to lead the people home. And I would laugh and I'd be like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you're here to lead the children of God back home to their sacred hearts. That very much is the Magdalene. And that's what my work is, to take people through the transformational process, to leave the false identity, created ego, and come back here where we're here to live from. So it's just been a journey my whole life. And I listen to my guides. I always tell everybody, if you hear your guides talking to you, listen, because they've saved my life numerous times.
And so, Kalina, you say you are a way shower of this ascension, which is really powerful. Did you always know that from a young girl, that was your role here, or how did that come through for you over the years? And when did you fully really know that that's part of what you're here for, or that is why?
As a child, no, I was the little wise old soul, that I didn't even play on the playground. The teachers were like, you're such an old soul, go play. But I would have this information and knowledge come in, and they would just be shocked. Like, did your parents teach you that? You're like at 5 years old. And I was like, no. And they would write notes to my family, and they would ask, your daughter's talking about this. I saw it on my report cards. And my mother would like, where did you hear that from? And I was like, that's me. So it was just the wisdom, being born with the open wisdom already, not understanding that I'm a way shower, but literally at that point was already teaching those teachers who were trying to teach me the third dimensional reality and the conformity. I was opening them up to, well, this is the truth. I've already got this wisdom. So the word way shower wasn't something in my conscious when I was younger. No.
So what are some of the transformations that occurred for you that really started opening up your gifts in a bigger and bigger way?
Oh, wow, there's so many. At 13, I started embodying, and my first embodiment was like Venus Aphrodite energy at 13 years old. And, that's a long time ago. That was early 80s. There's nowhere to go to get help back then. There was no internet, and that transformation was huge because it opened me up to the femininity of being the divine here on the earth, that we came back here to utilize our femininity in a way to bring that love, that unconditional love with no judgment. And that was one of the things that I don't really stay in touch with anybody from high school and all that stuff. that was a long time ago. But there are some starting to find me now, and they're like telling me, you were the kindest person I ever knew through school. You never judged anyone. And
Mm.
so that for me was the opening of that compassionate heart back then, of really the self-love for myself with Venus and Aphrodite, that is about self-love, but also the compassion towards others. And so that was the first one I really remember. And then I just kept, every couple of years there was another opening, if something big happened in my life, some pivotal moment, there was an activation, or my guides were doing something. When my lives were saved, even when I was 5 years old, when my life was saved, I was starting to cross the road in snow to go to school. And I lived in an area in Ohio where we up in the snow belt. So you're walking to school, when you're little, the snow's up to your hip, all that stuff. This and this I heard loud and clear, just as I looked both ways. Nothing was coming from what I can see because it was snowing really hard. I heard a loud no. And then I felt energy just hold me back. And right when that happened, this car came barreling right in front of me. It couldn't stop. And it was one of those big 70s boat cars. Just went right across. I would have been right there. It would have taken my life. And at that moment, I felt this warm energy coming down into me in that moment. And I felt my body just tingling. And so I know I even had a shift back all the way when I was only 5 years old. So they've been happening my whole life. Birth of my daughter, I had another shift. Birth of my son, a year and a half later, or 22 months later, another shift and activation. It keeps happening. So many
That's
of
very,
them.
very interesting. So your awakening comes in different stages. And you mentioned something, so we can include this in this. You did say that you go out and you do grid work. And so I thought we could talk about it. And then you mentioned that every time you do your grid work, your guides give you another either activation or another tool or another way of helping people. So I thought that sounded very fascinating to us.
Yes. I just got back from grid work, and last year I did a huge grid work in Mexico. That was one of the biggest ones I've ever done. And I got videos on YouTube about that and how it's shifting humanity in 2022 and all the things that were going to be happening, where the men were going to have their crowns removed, that patriarchy, okay?
And Kalina, just so everyone listening, maybe they're not familiar, if you could just explain what grid work is and what that means.
I will. Grid work is where I receive a download of information from my team. I call them my team because I work with a lot of different beings, light beings, angelics, masters, you name it, only of the highest vibration and frequency, and I have to match theirs. And so they give me like this download of information. You need to go here on the earth. So they give me a point on the earth where I need to take myself. And when I go there, then I never know what I'm going to be doing. They don't tell me right away. Okay. Then I get there and boom, the download comes and they start showing me what I need to do. So I bring with me my crystals, my tools, my roses, things, blessed waters, or I bless my own waters. I bring all the things that I use that are very high frequency, very sacred, very holy for me. And I go there and I will explain this grid work I just finished, because you, especially the women, are going to be like, whoa. I was told I needed to go to the Grand Canyon first. Okay. So I was only there one day. All I needed to do there, and my dear friend and sister, Keelena Rose, came with me. She had never been there before, or never done the grid work. And so she accompanied me because she had to go to both these same places I did, but not for grid work, just to be there. So at the canyon, I had to go there. This was my job there, was to open up a clearing portal, because there was so much dense energy, believe it or not, there, that when I opened up that portal with Keelena, this black energy just started going right up like a tornado. And you can feel the shifting of the energy there. And I feel like a lot of it is from all the tourism and stuff that goes through there, because you got all walks of life coming in. You never know. going to be left behind. And then after that happened, the clearing happened, and then the light language comes in, and I activate the newer crystalline grid to hold the new vibration. So that was the job at the Grand Canyon, was to activate that, illuminate that, and lift that frequency. And then anyone who goes there is going to receive that frequency while they're at the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
And so the next after that, I had to go to Santa Fe. I've never been there before, Santa Fe, New Mexico, but not to be in the town.
Uh-huh.
Go up in the mountains there. I'm always taken to the mountains. It's either the mountains or you've got to be somewhere where there's flowing water. So I was in the Santa Fe National Forest, and they lead me to the right spot to go to, where I find like already existing partial portals, and then I expand the portals through my body. For those of you that follow me, they probably would have seen on my Instagram or my Facebook the my light body. Shekina captured a picture of my light body expanded. It's in a photo that I just posted a couple days ago. So the light body is actually what's doing the work. But what happened here was very important. I was shown the night before, the cosmic mother, okay, her yoni was opening, okay? It was going to be opening, and the codes were going to be coming through her yoni into me. And this is the first time this has ever happened. And then my yoni expanded and delivered the codes into Gaia's yoni. So it was 3 wombs, okay, opened. And it was that I'm getting goosebumps as I talk about it, because
Me too.
Wow.
it was so powerful. And it was the unity of the divine feminine, the cosmic energy above, coming into the unity of the divine feminine as a human form upon the planet, and then anchoring into Gaia, and her receiving that and expanding that in the North Crystalline grid. And it was so, it was so powerful that my Kundalini, the Holy Spirit, was working through me the whole entire probably 8-9 days. And it was so activating and just transformational for me. So every time I do grid work, I'm going through transformation as well. And I'm integrating a higher frequency within myself. And so when I have to go back home or whatever, I'm like at a different frequency. So coming back here to Sedona for me was so heavy when I got here. For Shekina too, she's like, what happened? She goes, it doesn't feel right anymore. And I said, no, it's very dense now. So every time we lift our level of light, we're activating ourselves, expanding the more for the light body, we got to go back somewhere else where it's not that frequency from the work we've been doing. And you've got to integrate back into society. That's what I was saying before we started today. I'm still trying to integrate back into life here. But they gift me every time either a webinar to help pay for my trip, because I go not knowing how much it's going to cost me. I just go because I have to go, and the money will come from somewhere. So they'll gift me sometimes new healing modalities. The healing modality they did this time was very angelic, but also the Holy Spirit energy that's flowing through. I'm able to sit just in the presence of someone now and just expand that energy, and they feel that the healing starting on them. I don't even have to speak at the present at that moment. And so this is the new gift. I'm going to be focusing on that and working with that energy. And I want to say this because one of the biggest gifts I got last year in Mexico from Isis, because she led me through the whole Mexico trip last October and November. I was there 30 something days at all the sacred sites and clearing and activating. And she gifted me the healing of the witching wounds for the divine feminine. And that's one of the biggest webinars on my website. It's 2 hours long. And I've got people going, oh, so-and-so's trying to copy your webinar. But she said it can never be copied because the codes came through me from her in that webinar. And so it's on the website now. And but I usually do them live, but that's how it pays for my trips. They gift me these things to be able to, and that was a really expensive trip. So It helps when you're open and you're allow yourself and surrender yourself to do the work as a multidimensional being, and you're paid back. God sees you. We're here to do God's divine will. It's why we came. That's our service. We just have to surrender and allow to it.
Very profound. Very profound. Do you take people on the trips with you? Like how do you integrate this with your work with people?
Mexico, I did. I had some women with me, and my partner at the time was there. We're not partners anymore, but it's a very large transformational healing for them. I warn them before they go. I'm like, you're going to be going home and going through a really huge transformation after this. If you've never done this before, I warn them, and they do, and it's deep. It's like going through dark night of the soul again when they get back home, and it's very profound. It's a very deep. It heals deep wounds, especially if you've had lives on that land before. You go really deep into the lives you've had there that come up to be released, like karmic things. There's it's so transformational for people. I can't explain it. I can't speak for them because I have my own transformation of the higher frequency and stuff that I received. But yes, I have more trips coming. I'm supposed to be leading women on trips to Mexico, to Egypt, to all these sacred places and spaces. And it's coming. I'm just waiting for things to settle down and borders to open. But yes, and the light languages that I speak, that flows out because it's all coming in from the cosmos to assist with the higher vibration and higher frequencies for all the souls on the planet.
So, Keelena, maybe you could explain a little bit more about the light language and how it's a part of your work in general, and in transforming people and their lives, and what else comes through.
Yeah, the language of light. When I used to, when I was little, I remembered speaking these languages with my brother and sister. We'd be playing when we were little, and I remember these. People think they're just kids being goofy, right? And now I realized later in life as an adult that was the language of light. And so the children being more now, they can speak it if they listen. I have people who just to let you know, whose children listen to my videos on YouTube and they speak the light language back. And it's so good. It's very profound because it's your higher self speaking. And when when you allow that, it's also healing energy for yourself. And it's different for everyone. For some people, you can use it in healing. For some of us, like I'm an activator and a healer, and it purifies. But what it is I want to explain how it was shown from my team. I asked them, I don't understand where it's coming from. So here's what they showed me. The language, it comes in as light and sound vibration, okay, from the cosmos. And it's from source, basically, and it starts to form sacred geometry. When that sacred geometry comes in, I saw it coming right into my third eye. And just to show me how it worked, they had it like on a board just to see it came in. And then I would speak it. But if you write it, some people write it in circles and, in maybe the phi ratio and stuff, or the evolution. But when it came in, I can see and feel the sacred geometry, and it just flows out of me. I don't hear it. Some people hear it first and they speak what they're hearing. I never hear it because I'm actually in alignment with that actual source of where it's coming from. And it just comes out of me because that's the multidimensional part of me. Mm-hmm. What it does is when it comes in, it activates codes of light. Now, how I use it is I use it in healing sessions. It's purification, it's healing. It goes through the DNA at the cellular level, and it activates anything that's suppressed or dormant in you to open you up. It activates people's light bodies, the crystalline body. It does so much for the being that I am. That's how I utilize, and that's how it works for me. Not everybody is the same with light language. I also sing it and sing the tones that create the harmonic balance through the spheres of light that come in as well. But yes, it's very powerful. And I want to say every single soul can speak it. There's been like people saying, oh no, not everyone can speak it. Yes, you can. Spirit has showed me that this is your higher self when you allow it. I just happen to channel a lot of different ones at the highest frequencies and vibrations. I don't let anything else in, so that I can actually bring in messages from the universe, from other planets, from different beings of light that have information that needs to flow through. And it's very powerful. And it also, it puts you in your power, and it brings in that sense of your multidimensionality.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, very powerful. And so in terms of, I know the topic that you're speaking about at the Ascension of the Soul Conference is living multidimensionally. What does that mean for you, and why is it important for people to be thinking about living multidimensionally right now?
Wow. Okay. So for me, it's allowing you to be who you are. Because so many people hide those different aspects of themselves. They don't want people or to think that they're a freak or whatever. My team pushed me into, you're going to have a YouTube channel. You're going to speak light language. And I was like, oh, no. So we have to get past that fear. So living multidimensionally, like my angelic self will speak. My goddess self will speak. My cosmic self, this part of me, and my face changes. For a lot of people have seen and caught on my videos, when I morph into Isis, I will morph into Sophia, will change into Gaia when my face turns green. That's living multidimensionally. That's allowing the frequency of who you are to shift and change within you, and not being afraid of it. We're not just a human being on this planet. We are all these things, and we are accepting it, acknowledging it, and allowing it in surrender. Become the best version of ourselves in life this time, so that we can do the work that we came here to do for Gaia and for the collective consciousness to help with this ascension. And my biggest thing is to know thyself, love thyself, and be thyself. And that's the one thing that people are hiding. They are not being fully themselves. They are not accepting their shadow sides. They're only being like, I'm only light, We've got to bring it all into balance to create that structure that we are in this form, and then expand it through the consciousness and the reality that we are living.
I love that you said we have to expand our consciousness of light. And it seems to me that some people are afraid. They fear the power that they are, and they fear their brilliance. And so I'm thinking that is something that you help with, to show them exactly who they are, and allow that to happen.
Yes. And actually, a lot of people, I have actually gotten a lot of emails and messages and all kinds of stuff of people saying, Keelena, if I hadn't seen how you go out there so bravely and so courageously, doing what you do. And I'm telling you, I've had people call me evil, everything in the book, because I allow myself to be who I am. If I hadn't have done that, there's a lot of people out there that have said they would have committed suicide, and they didn't. And this is very important. So one of my jobs is to lead people out of the false identity ego, to bring them back home to Sacred Heart, where we're here to live. And this is where we expand that light, and we allow ourselves to know personally within ourselves that we are allowed to be who we are and express who we are, that there should not be any judgment. So the moment that we don't judge ourselves is the moment everything changes. So when there's somebody on the earth that is being who they are not judging who they are allowing every sense of their being to come through, no matter how we look, what we say, how we sound, how we speak. That's leading people to be who they are. So I have to lead by example to allow people to come back home to here.
And so are you feeling like that's what's so needed at this time during the ascension, showing people their way back to themselves?
Absolutely. It's so important, because if we're going to stay, I call it the false identity created ego, the one that you're programmed in since a child. And I always put it out here. We have to let that go. That's not who we truly are. People call it removing the layers. I call it removing the programs of conditioning, patterns, behaviors, and coming back in and centering ourselves to that, that the pineal, the sacred masculine mind, and the heart, that sacred heart, the the divine mother heart, and bringing those two together and activating that Christ consciousness, which is in our sacred voice. This is where we're here to speak our truth and expand and artistically express, either through speaking, dancing, arts, whatever it is, our creativity. And this is what I've known only from my own experience. It's what I teach from. So it's very, very important to become and allow yourself to be who you are without judging yourself or judging others. And this is where we move into our divinity, I feel.
Wow, so it sounds exciting. I'm looking forward to your presentation for sure. So, you have such a vast array of skills and talents and stuff. Who are your clients? Like, what would prompt me to call you for help? Like,
and what would that look like? What would that experience?
And then what would that look like? Am I going out on the land? Am I getting like healing? How am I being like, why, how, what, why, and when?
And we do have some questions that have been coming in, Keelena. We didn't have a chance to get to all of them because Joan and I are excited to be asking you questions. But your fish, following up on this, he was asking, what do you do for others? You sound like you want to help with your healing energy. Please use your superpowers to heal children. And can we have some evidence of your superpowers, please? So
evidence.
It's interesting because I actually work with children on my Patreon. I have a Patreon level for children to keep them expanded and them to find their, little gifts. But what I do in sessions, I go into people's subconscious and I find the things that you're holding in your subconscious, the roots of things, whether they're from this life or past lives, to bring those forward. And your team actually helps me. I actually feel my entire body becomes you in a session. So I feel everything on me. That's the full body conduit. And I will feel all your blockages, everything you're carrying, whether it's from this life, past life, and bring up who it came from, the roots of it, so that we can actually find it. And I take people through a forgiveness method, which is very healing, that I was gifted at 3:30 in the morning years ago. 3:33, I was up, gifted that download from Isis again, and Mary Magdalene, and sitting there, and I was testing it on all the people in my life, and everything was coming off of me, coming out of me. And I was so light by 6:30 in the morning. It's such a powerful healing. So I do that. I do the light language healing, the energy of the different aspects of me, the different modalities of healing from the other lifetimes are all coming in this lifetime. And I actually had a beautiful Vedic astrology reading where this woman was shocked at, she goes, you're this Pisces energy. You've got all the gifts from all your past coming in, but these are the really good ones in the light. And she goes, you're doing them on the planet this time and all at once. So whatever you need in a healing session, or if you're going to go on the grid with me or whatever, you're going to receive what's the most important thing for you in the moment of now. That's going to help accelerate you, move you forward, heal whatever it is that you need to do. I will not do your work for you. That's the thing that my team taught me. I will bring in the energy. I will work with you. I will bring all that forward to bring it up for the transformation. But you've got to go through the transformation, not me. Because that's one of the things that they say, I can take pain off people and all that stuff. A lot of people can do that kind of stuff, but it's the deep wounds that we need to bring up that have to be really clear to transform us, because we are the event on this planet. We are the event in every single body. And as this event is happening through us, that's why the earth is shifting and changing now. As we're destructing or dismantling all of the beliefs and the system and the stories within ourselves from all the things we created on the planet and bringing the new stuff in, this is the event. It's happening through us. And so we got 7.5 or 8 billion people doing it right now. Well, the ones that are awake, even the ones that are not awake, they're awake just a little bit. They're doing something. So the changes in how are happening. I can do some light language that when everyone is ready, that can bring through.
Ooh,
that'd be beautiful.
We're ready.
We're ready.
Okay.
I've put it through this entire interview already.
Okay.
We'd love to hear it.
I have really big energy. So just one of the gifts I had was these big hands one night. I woke up and my hands were like this big. I was like, oh no, I have man hands. But they were so big. I was like, what are these? Okay, so I'm gonna just ask, I now allow the divine creator source, my divine creator source, to flow within me. Bring through the languages of light and any healing or activation thoughts needed for all that are listening now or will listen in the future. I ask for the highest benevolent source, love, light, highest frequency and vibrations of our divine creator source to flow through me, as me, of me, within me, outside of me, above and below only. Just have your hands on your lap, hands, palms facing up, be open and ready to receive. Kiat urshna am eraka. Mihana kwanarasam yaratayam. Mahana satiyam. Na atikirasna sa totorushna shotur ama iriana ki ha huana. Mihana kaya. Shururiana manane. Hey, anatai, 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 anatai. Koyama. In kirasno aisiara arka. Ha un emere inna ureshne I. Ne inna hoch und u a mul uch und Urian and then it Amoria, Amania, Anaya, Nihias. Release. Release, release, release. Marona manea, inna machan, et arush. Samahan, eternal love, eternal light, eternal life. Maya kita, Aya.
Wow.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Wow. Very beautiful. I've heard a lot of light language, but none quite as powerful as the way you're bringing it through. Plus, I will say you have the voice of an angel. Just to mention that.
That's one of our aspects, right? That's one of our aspects. We're all
in our aspects. And yes, I have an angelic name, but my voice is not quite as harmonious. I just love what you're bringing through. So what else do you want our people to know about working with you or being in your presence? What else do you want to share? we haven't included?
You know, I don't really talk about myself a lot. My stuff, mainly my work has all been word of mouth. And in 2017, just to let people know, my bookings like started so I've been doing it before that, but in 2017 something shifted, and I've been booked months in advance ever since, and it's all been because of word of mouth, because of people that are having healings from it, and it's activating their multidimensionality, them to speak their light language, things that they come back and I'm shocked. I'm like, oh, that happened. How beautiful. But I don't take credit for it because I'm a conduit for source. I'm the conduit. That's how I look at myself. And all of the aspects of myself that are integrated within me. Yes, I can assist. But I tend to step back, and that's why you don't see me all over social media so much or whatever. I'm very focused on why I'm here on the grid work and helping people as much as I can. But there are other things I do. I do the Sisters of the Rose because I got the download when I was 22 years old. Mother Mary came to me in my apartment in the middle of the winter, and my whole apartment just permeated with roses, the smell of the roses, and she handed me a blue rose. And this is going to be funny. I want to tell you guys something that's funny really quick. That's the rose ray. Okay, so that's the connected to Sirius, Mother Mary. And so she was giving me the codes of the Sisters of the Rose to activate and initiate the women that have been that before on the planet. And that's one of the big things that I do. I get a lot of women that come to that event every year. But it also was the blue rose. I arrived at Earth on a ruby and gold ray, but the blue ray is a lot of my work. The blue ray, cosmic consciousness, and the blue rays are the missing divine feminine that have been missing on the planet, the mother frequency, that energy. So if you're a blue ray, you hold that frequency of light. And the first time that I ever saw, all of a sudden I was in my kitchen and I saw this blue dots going all over my white refrigerator. I'm like, what is that? I just moved into this new place, and I was like, oh, it's coming from behind me. I turn around and I go over to the window to see. I'm looking outside trying to see, and I didn't see anything. And then I turn around back at the refrigerator. I see it again, this blue bright light, and I'm like, somebody's trying to laser me. So I duck down behind the kitchen cabinets on the floor, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have my eyes closed. I'm like, why is somebody trying to laser me? What if they get it in my eye? And then I open my eyes and I'm on the floor, and I look at the cupboard and it's right there on the cupboard. And I'm like, and I was like, oh, my mouth just was like, and I went, and I was like, oh my goddess, that's me. I'm like, what kind of freak am I? I started crying because I was like, what's wrong with me? There's a blue light coming out of my head. So that's part of the blue ray. For those that know what that is, it comes out of my third eye, and I can literally sit in sessions, or if I meet you on the street, my blue ray will go right in your third eye and start working on you. So I scared myself back then, but now that I understand it more, it's part of the the work that we're here to do.
Right. Isn't that funny? You thought you were a freak at first. And of course, we all know that's not true, that interdimensionality. And, so Tangela and I have spent the last few weeks talking to people about how their gifts emerge and what a shock it is for some people, especially if they've been in corporate or in another life. And suddenly now they're speaking a new language, or they have a blue beam. I had a boyfriend that had a blue light coming out of his hand. And so he went around and he was just flabbergasted by, it's not like anyone's taught what you really do.
Exactly.
So
that is actually, that's nice that you mentioned that. And I totally understand that, because I have lights that beam out of my hands. And just 2 weeks ago, I was sitting in meditation. I put my hands down on the outside sofa, and I looked down at my hand, and this light came shooting out of all my fingertips. And I was just sitting there staring at this gold light like, okay, evolution. That's what I kept telling myself. We are constant evolution in progress, right? I'm like, okay, now there's stuff came on my fingertips. I'm waiting for my toes to do it now, but but that's one of the things that when this happens, then I'm able to understand how it works and what we're here to utilize it for. So I do teach people like on my Patreon, okay, this is what you're going to do next with that, you know, or if they have sessions with me or whatever. But it's being, I have to teach through experience. I have to experience it first to be able to understand it and to teach others. I just don't, I don't read books. I'm not allowed. My team won't let me. They do not want me to have other information in the way. And so everything that I receive comes straight in, and then I have to take it in. And sometimes they're pieces to the puzzle. They're just
Right.
pieces to the puzzle for our own evolution. And it's like, you're like, just give me the rest. And they're like, no, you got to do that.
And so
This is so great to talk to you. That's how my guides give it to me also. They say one piece at a time, show us. I mean, it's not like they're like you have to prove it to them, but in a way you do. You have to say, yes, I'm listening. Yes, I'm ready. Yes, I'm willing to take the next step, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is great. So guys, you can see her on the Ascension of the Soul conference. We'll put the link back on. We have a few links for Keelena, and you can actually reach out to her and book a session with her and have that blue light on you. All right. I kind of like that.
Kalina, you had mentioned your Patreon. So if you wanted to let people know what your Patreon is about and what that experience looks like.
Oh, the Patreon is actually, I have different levels on there, different tiers. I have one where it's just it's a Q&A level, and you get a second half of the month energy video with activations and codes. And I also give you decrees for the first couple level. The third level, I think, is one of them is I have a light language level. I have a level that's the priestess path, awakening women to their paths. It's called the priestess path, but it's really guiding women. And I'm taking women this year through the 12 temples that I actually do as the Magdalene stuff. And it's teaching you, and it's bringing in, it comes in a download. So I'm teaching what that temple represents every month and how it's connected to your work in this lifetime, in the modern age. And I do activations in it to open up the codes. It's just, there's so much on there. You just would have to go in and look at it. And the first one is for children and teens. So I also work with children and teenagers accompanied by the parents.
Beautiful. Wow.
Nice.
So there's so many ways for people to be able to work with you, get in touch with you. And you can also follow Keelena on YouTube and her social media. I think you have a lot of videos on there as well, right?
I do 200 something on YouTube. There's over a couple hundred on Patreon. And I also do private mentorship in my home where I'll take people in if they want to do that too. So
Wow.
Lovely. Lovely. And we get to hear you again in a couple of weeks. This is fantastic. So I just want to thank you, Keelena, for being with us.
Yes.
You are such a powerful master. You know, and I love how they named you at an early age and you've stepped into your name. I think one of the highlights is really, it does feel like you've been a walk-in self, or I love that other aspects of you keep coming in. And so there's more for us to learn from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate it. And the energy of both of you is so lovely.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's been such a highly activating experience just being able to be in conversation and in the energetics with you. And, thank you for your courage and bravery and just being who you are. Because like you said, by being who you are, that's giving courage, bravery, and permission to everyone out there to be who they are, whether they're watching or not, whether they're even aware or not. It's just a massive shift that's occurring. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Galactic Society, we are becoming.
We already are. I love it. We really are. And we are the way showers. We are the ones that are choosing to be the chosen ones and to choose to share our gifts. And so just really appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time, Keelena.
Thank you, Keelena. Thanks so much. And thanks for everyone who joined us. People are, just giving their thanks to you, Keelena, sending their blessings, really having powerful experiences with you in the light language. So we're happy all of you could join us live, and for everyone watching the replay as well. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, that was pretty good. That was so interesting. And it's interesting to see how much we all have in common too.
Mm-hmm.
That these gifts are something we can all aspire to. We can all learn tools of awakening.
Exactly. And I think that's such an important point, Joan. I think, and Kalina was saying that as well as our other speakers who've been joining us, that, whatever gifts everyone is bringing forth and unfolding, we have those possibilities too. We all have our own intuitive and supernatural gifts and abilities that we carry forth from so many lifetimes, from so many dimensions. And, and all of our amazing speakers, including Kalina, are just here to remind us that, we are here to bring all of that forth together. And that's what the ascension of the soul is all about. That's why we're here.
Right? Soul travel, soul love, soul awakening, soul movement, soul potential, soul ascension. So, guys, we are all about all those aspects of the soul and the soul ascension. I'm your hostess, Joan of Angels. You can find me at joanofangels.com. But make sure you check out portaltoascension.org. Portal to Ascension is co-sponsoring, co-hosting the Ascension of the Soul with Tangela. And we also host hundreds of events online year-round. So please check us out also. But also sign up for the conference. It's going to be a great conference.
It is. I mean, you can just see what a powerful experience we had with Kalina today. And, just 2 days of incredible downloads from amazing ascension experts like her. It's going to be a highly activating and uplifting experience for all of us. So looking forward to seeing you all there.
We will see you all, guys, for the next Ascension of the Soul interview. Thank you so much for being with us. Love to all of you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, all. We'll see you on Monday with Peyton Tance.
Right. We should actually wish them a happy ascension.
Oh, yeah.